Hello everybody, my name is Stephanie May and welcome to this month's Lessons with Law Photography. I'm going to be covering Hollywood Glamour Lighting in this lesson, which is a dramatic, edgy style of photography. I'm going to show you what type of lights I use, how I position them, and I'm excited to show you how I utilize these different lighting techniques to achieve the final look. Let's get started. This lesson is all about using what you've got. I am working in a home studio. It is still the pandemic, so I've got a black backdrop set up and just a simple chair for my subject, and I have two lights that I'm going to be using for this particular Hollywood Glamour lesson. The first light that I'm going to be using is the Low-L ID light. This is a specialty light that I will often refer to as my spotlight. It has a focused beam of light, like a tight beam, that has a really nice warm temperature. The second light I'm going to use is a Westcott Basics U-Light. It has a 20-inch by 20-inch softbox, which creates like a diffused light. So I appreciate being able to have both the tight focused spotlight of the Low-L ID light as well as a softbox that provides some more diffused, even lighting. The first lighting pattern I'm going to show you is the butterfly light. I am using the spotlight as my key light and the softbox as a subtle hair light. Butterfly lighting is when you have your main light source almost directly overhead your subject, and it creates a butterfly shape under the nose with the lighting effect. It's very dramatic. You get shadows kind of under the jaw here, and mostly you have to shoot that just straight on, but you can always move around your subject a little bit and get different angles of the lighting as well. So now I'm going to show you how to do Rembrandt lighting. Rembrandt lighting is the type of really beautiful shadow lighting that's created when there is a little triangle of light just under one eye, and then the other side of the face is completely lit. To create the Rembrandt lighting, you have to put your light, your key light, your main light, just to 45-degree angle to your subject, and then you want to always have your lights up and pointed down. So well, not always, but most of the time you want to have the 45-degree angle with the light source as well as at a 45-degree angle to your subject. Okay, now that we've done the Rembrandt lighting, I'm going to move on. I'm going to move my key light, which is this Low-L ID light here. It's kind of like a spotlight. I'm going to move that to the back and use that as a hair light. Hair light is very dramatic and sets a halo around the face. So I'm going to make my spotlight into the hair light, and then I'm going to move my softbox light around to be my key light. So now that I'm using my spotlight as the hair light, and then I've got my Westcott Basics softbox as the key light, I'm getting sort of a rim lighting effect, and so I'm going to experiment with that for a few shots here. Now I've had my subject kind of angle his knees toward the key light, which is set up at kind of a 90-degree angle is where the stand is, but the softbox is pointed to the backdrop. So I'm really just getting the fall off light on his face. This is creating kind of a rim lighting effect as well. And so each time your subject moves and or you move the light, the specific shadows of this type of lighting will make themselves apparent. So right now I'm kind of just experimenting. As I always say, half of my job is moving lights around. So if you're not exactly sure how your lights are going to work in this particular situation, I would say just experiment. Try, having them at 90-degree angle or 45-degree angle from where you're standing, and then move yourself around, move your subject around, and just pay attention to what happens to the light on the face. Now I'm going to be doing a silhouette style style lighting setup. Usually that means that I turn, since I'm only using 2 lights for this series, I'm going to turn one of my lights off and only be using my spotlight as the key light. And I'm going to have it 45-degree angle from my subject but behind him. So you'll see sort of like a silhouette effect with the rim lighting there. I'm also going to have him hit a vape pen to create a smoke effect for some of these photos. Now that I've gotten the silhouette look with the smoke, I think my next step is going to be to put the hair light, the spotlight, right behind my subject's hair, and I moved it down a little bit so that it creates a rim lighting around the back of his head. And then I've switched to having my key light as the light with the softbox. And I don't really have it pointed at him. I've got it kind of pointed away from him so that he's still just getting the fall off light from that. If you have a bunch of different modifiers, like a strip box or grids, you probably would have more control over your light, but I'm just working with what I've got, so fall off works just as well in some cases. Okay, that is it for this lesson with Law Photography. In this lesson, Classic Hollywood Lighting, you learned how to do the butterfly style light, the Rembrandt light, rim lighting, hair light, as well as the silhouette. I hope that you learned something valuable, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Bye!